Most men don't realize the female body is deeply wired for emotional memory, hormonal shifts, and silent strength. She feels deeply, remembers touch, hides pain, and constantly scans for safety. Her body reflects her mind. Understanding this isn't weakness, it's wisdom. See beyond the surface, that's where her truth lives. The female brain is a masterpiece of emotional intelligence, sensitivity, and connection. Unlike the traditional belief that men and women simply think the same way with slight differences, neuroscience shows us a deeper truth. The female brain is wired to prioritize connection over competition. This isn't a weakness. It's a powerful evolutionary advantage that has shaped how women relate to the world, to others, and to themselves. From early development, girls tend to exhibit a heightened ability to read facial expressions, interpret tone, and respond to emotional cues. Their brains are more active in regions related to empathy, language processing, and relational memory. This allows women to sense shifts in energy, detect unspoken emotions, and respond with care and intuition. It's not overthinking. It's how her brain is designed to process and protect her emotional environment. This natural drive for connection stems from an evolutionary need for collaboration. In ancestral communities, women relied on each other for survival, child rearing, and emotional support. Their success wasn't based on dominance or hierarchy, but on mutual trust and understanding. This legacy remains today in how many women form friendships, navigate conflict, and lead with empathy rather than authority. This is why many women may feel drained or disconnected in highly competitive, individualistic environments. Their brains are tuned to seek common ground, not outshine others. While women are absolutely capable of excelling in competitive fields, their internal reward system often lights up more when they experience cooperation, harmony, and emotional safety than when they win or dominate. They thrive where relationships matter as much as results. This wiring also influences communication. Women tend to use conversation not just to exchange information, but to build connection. A simple check-in or "How was your day?" carries emotional depth. It's not small talk. It's a way of saying, "I care about your inner world." When that emotional loop is missed or dismissed, she doesn't just feel unheard, she feels unseen. Her brain registers a lack of connection, which can trigger emotional withdrawal or a sense of rejection. Even in leadership, this brain wiring shows up. Female leaders often build their strength through emotional intelligence, collaboration, and inclusivity. They focus on listening, understanding group dynamics, and creating spaces where others feel heard and valued. That's not a soft skill. That's an evolved form of intelligence that strengthens communities, teams, and families. At the core of the female brain is a need to connect, feel, and belong. She doesn't seek power for control. She seeks it for security, for influence, and for the ability to nurture what matters. When she senses disconnection, conflict, or emotional coldness, it doesn't just bother her, it confuses her system. Because her instinct is to bridge the gap, to restore balance, to reconnect. Understanding this changes everything. When you begin to recognize that a woman's actions are often guided by her intrinsic desire to connect, not to compete, you'll stop seeing her as overly emotional or complicated. You'll start seeing her as she is, deeply attuned, emotionally intelligent, and powerfully wired for relationship. Hormones are often dismissed as mere mood regulators, especially in conversations about women. But the truth is far more complex and far more powerful. Hormones influence nearly every aspect of a woman's experience: how she feels, thinks, reacts, remembers, connects, and even how she sees herself. To understand a woman's body, one must first understand the unseen chemical forces working behind the scenes every day. At the center of this system are key players: estrogen, progesterone, oxytocin, and cortisol, among others. These hormones are not just involved in reproduction or monthly cycles. They are neurochemical influencers that shape how women experience the world moment to moment. Estrogen, for instance, is known for its role in regulating the menstrual cycle, but it also plays a powerful role in memory, emotion, and cognitive function. During certain phases of a woman's cycle when estrogen is high, she may feel more energized, mentally sharp, and socially open. But when estrogen drops, especially right before menstruation, it can lead to low mood, irritability, fatigue, or a desire to withdraw. This isn't about being emotional, it's about a neurochemical shift that has very real effects on how her brain and body function. Progesterone has a calming effect in the body, often referred to as nature's sedative. It helps balance out estrogen stimulation. But when progesterone levels are off, whether too low or dropping rapidly, it can contribute to anxiety, insomnia, and emotional sensitivity. This is why some women feel overstimulated or unable to relax, even when their life seems peaceful. Their body isn't at war with them. It's reacting to internal chemistry that they didn't choose. Then there's oxytocin, often released during moments of closeness, affection, or trust. Oxytocin deepens bonding and increases feelings of connection. In women, its effects are amplified, especially during activities like hugging, breastfeeding, or intimacy. This means a simple act of touch can create a deep emotional tie, not because she's clingy, but because her biology responds on a cellular level. And when that connection is suddenly broken or unsafe, the absence of oxytocin can feel like a withdrawal, physically and emotionally. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is another major factor. In women, stress responses can trigger hormonal disruptions more quickly than in men. Chronic stress affects her cycle, her digestion, her sleep, and even her skin. A woman under constant emotional stress may develop hormonal imbalances that manifest as anxiety, mood swings, or fatigue. It's not all in her head. Her entire body is responding to the inner storm of pressure, uncertainty, or emotional suppression. Even more surprising is how hormones influence intuition and emotional pattern recognition. During certain hormonal phases, women become more attuned to facial expressions, tone shifts, and social cues. This isn't magic. It's a heightened neurological awareness driven by subtle chemical changes. So when a woman feels off, tired, disconnected, or on edge, it's not just about attitude or mindset. It's about biology. Her hormones are constantly shifting in a dance that affects everything, from her emotions to her energy, from her memory to her ability to trust. Recognizing this truth isn't just science, it's empathy. Pain is often misunderstood, especially when it comes to how women experience it. There's a long-standing stereotype that women are more sensitive or emotional when it comes to physical discomfort. But science and lived experience tell a different story. Women have a higher pain tolerance than most men realize. Not only do they endure pain differently, but they also process it through a unique psychological and physiological lens that's often overlooked or minimized. From an early age, girls are socialized to normalize discomfort. Whether it's menstrual cramps, restrictive clothing, or social pressure to stay composed in the face of emotional strain, young women are taught, both subtly and directly, to keep going, to be pleasant, to not complain. By the time a girl becomes a woman, enduring pain silently has often become second nature. But this isn't just a social behavior, it's something rooted in her biology as well. Studies have shown that women can experience higher pain thresholds and longer endurance during certain types of pain, particularly repetitive or chronic pain. This explains, in part, why women tend to suffer longer and more quietly with conditions like fibromyalgia, endometriosis, migraines, or autoimmune diseases, many of which are often misdiagnosed or dismissed altogether. This is not because the pain is imagined, but because the world has become accustomed to women surviving in silence. Take menstrual pain, for example. Many women experience intense cramps, lower back pain, nausea, and fatigue monthly, yet still show up to work, take care of their families, or attend classes without missing a beat. That kind of resilience isn't just emotional, it's deeply physical. A man experiencing the same level of uterine contraction pain in a simulated environment often finds it intolerable. Yet women push through it as a normal part of life. Even childbirth is one of the most extreme examples of pain tolerance. The human body undergoes massive strain, tearing, contracting, stretching beyond what seems possible, and still, women persist through it, often without complaint, because that's what's expected. The experience itself is not only physically demanding, but emotionally and psychologically transformative. And yet, after enduring all that pain, many women do it again, willingly. What's even more compelling is how women process pain in the brain. While men's pain tends to activate brain areas associated with physical intensity, women's pain often lights up regions tied to emotion, memory, and context. This means she may not only feel the pain physically, but may attach emotional meaning to it, especially if the pain is linked to trauma, rejection, or neglect. Still, despite this dual burden, women move forward. They adapt, endure, and overcome. Pain for a woman is rarely just physical. It's layered with expectation, memory, and survival. She's learned to smile through it, to soften her voice while her body aches, to nurture others while neglecting her own needs. That isn't weakness. That's strength in one of its most underrated forms. The ability to function, love, and lead while in pain is something men rarely witness, but it defines much of the feminine experience. The female body is far more than a physical structure. It's an emotional archive. Every touch, every glance, every moment of closeness or distance is stored in ways that science is only beginning to understand. For women, emotional experiences are deeply intertwined with physical sensation. This isn't just poetic, it's biological. The body doesn't just feel, it remembers, especially when the touch is tied to emotion. When a woman is touched, whether it's a hug, a caress, or even just holding hands, her body releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin fosters trust, attachment, and emotional safety. But unlike in men, where oxytocin levels may return to baseline quickly, women often hold on to that feeling longer. Her nervous system attaches emotional significance to physical connection, creating a lasting imprint. That's why a single meaningful touch from someone she loves can stay with her for years, and why a single harmful one can create lifelong triggers. This emotional imprinting isn't just reserved for romantic situations. A comforting hug from a parent, a hand held during a moment of fear, or a friend's gentle touch during grief. All of these experiences are stored not just in her mind, but in her muscles, her skin, her senses. Her body becomes a map of memories, each sensation tied to a specific moment in time. On the flip side, when touch is used carelessly, or worse, when it comes with betrayal or trauma, the body remembers that too. For many women, emotional or physical trauma doesn't just fade, it lingers. It shows up as tight shoulders when someone gets too close, a racing heart when she hears a certain tone of voice, or numbness when she tries to trust again. Her body is not overreacting. It's recalling a memory that her conscious mind may have even forgotten. This is why physical intimacy for women is rarely just about desire or pleasure. It's about emotional connection, safety, trust, and vulnerability. When she chooses to be physically close to someone, it's often because she feels safe enough to let her body relax and allow touch to mean something. And when that trust is broken, it can take a long time for her body to feel safe again, even if she consciously wants to move on. These physical memories can shape her behaviors, choices, and even her posture. She may instinctively pull back from affection, not because she doesn't want love, but because her body is still protecting her from pain it remembers. Or she may lean into physical touch more deeply, craving the comfort and grounding it once brought her. Either way, her body's response is valid, even if it's not immediately understood. Understanding this truth is essential. Touch, for a woman, is a language, a powerful one. It can build her up or break her spirit. Her body speaks in sensations, remembers in shivers, and heals through safe, consistent care. When you touch a woman, you're not just touching her skin, you're touching her story, and her body, silent but wise, never forgets. When it comes to understanding a woman, her words are only one part of the story. What often speaks louder, what reveals her truth even when she's silent, is her body language. A woman's body is constantly communicating how she feels, what she trusts, what she fears, and what she needs. And the most fascinating part? Much of it is unconscious. She may not even realize she's revealing what's going on inside her, but her body does. From the shift of her eyes to the tightening of her jaw, from crossed arms to the angle of her feet, these subtle signals give away far more than most people notice. This isn't manipulation or strategy, it's biology. A woman's nervous system is deeply attuned to social cues, and in turn it reflects emotional states through posture, facial expressions, and movements. Her body becomes a mirror of her inner world. For example, when a woman feels safe, her body opens up, her shoulders relax, she makes eye contact, her hands are expressive, her smile is real, not forced, her voice softens. These signs signal comfort and trust, not just to others, but also to herself. Her body literally tells her brain, "We're okay." This is why creating emotional safety is not just about what you say, it's about how she feels in your presence. On the other hand, discomfort or emotional disconnection shows up just as quickly. She might pull back physically, cross her arms, avoid eye contact, or even shift her body slightly away from someone without realizing it. Her laughter might sound forced. Her answers become shorter. These aren't random actions, they're protective signals. Her body is trying to retreat from something that doesn't feel aligned or safe. One of the most powerful signs is the micro-expression, those fleeting facial reactions that last less than a second. A flash of annoyance, a flicker of sadness, or a smirk of joy. These subtle cues often appear before the mind can filter or censor them. For someone observant, these micro-expressions can be windows into her truest feelings, especially when her words say something else. Another revealing cue is how she uses space. If she leans in during conversation, rests her hand near yours, or mirrors your gestures, she's likely engaged and emotionally present. If she keeps physical distance or angles her body away, something is off. And it's not about being rude, it's instinct. Women often use body positioning to communicate boundaries without confrontation. Even the rhythm of her breathing can shift depending on her emotional state. Quick, shallow breaths might indicate anxiety. Slower, deeper breaths suggest calm. A sudden breath hold could reveal surprise or discomfort. These are not exaggerations. They are reflections of how emotions physically manifest in the body. A woman may choose her words carefully, especially in situations where she wants to avoid conflict or appear composed, but her body rarely lies. If you truly want to understand how a woman feels, don't just listen. Observe. Her body will often speak the truth her lips are still too guarded to say. Long before a woman speaks, agrees, or smiles, her subconscious has already scanned the room, the tone of voice, the body language, and the energy around her. This internal scanning system is not a choice or a habit. It's a biological response. For women, the subconscious mind is constantly evaluating one critical question: am I safe here? This deep-rooted instinct goes back generations. Biologically, women have always had to assess their environment quickly to protect themselves and their children. While society has evolved, the brain's protective wiring hasn't changed much. That means even in everyday situations, like a conversation, a date, or walking into a new space, her nervous system is working in the background, searching for cues of either safety or danger. And the signals her subconscious picks up on are incredibly subtle. A slightly raised voice, a change in facial expression, even how someone approaches her physically. All of it is measured and weighed before she's even consciously aware of it. If something feels off, she may not be able to explain why, but her body will react. Tension in her shoulders, a quickened heartbeat, the urge to leave or pull back. These are not mood swings. They're warning signs her brain is flashing to protect her. This constant scanning also explains why some women can't relax, even in situations where everything seems fine on the surface. If her nervous system has been conditioned by past trauma, rejection, betrayal, or even just years of being on guard, it takes much more than words to convince her she's safe. She may smile, nod, and engage, but deep down, she's still in protection mode until her body receives enough consistent evidence to let down its guard. Safety doesn't just mean physical protection, it includes emotional and psychological safety too. Does she feel heard when she speaks? Can she express herself without being judged or dismissed? Is her vulnerability met with respect or control? These are the questions her subconscious is asking constantly. And the answers don't come through logic, they come through experience. This is why presence matters more than promises. You can't simply tell a woman she's safe. You have to show her with patience, consistency, empathy, and emotional maturity. If your tone is calm, your words match your actions, and your energy is steady, her body will slowly start to trust. Over time, the subconscious scanning slows down, the walls come down. She breathes easier, not because the world is perfect, but because her nervous system finally feels supported enough to relax. It's easy to misunderstand this kind of guardedness as drama, distance, or overthinking. But what's really happening is survival. Her subconscious is doing its job, protecting her from hurt, disappointment, or danger. She's not looking for reasons to reject you. She's looking for reasons to believe she's safe with you. And when her body finds that safety, everything about her changes. Her eyes soften, her voice warms, her energy flows, because when a woman feels truly safe, she becomes her most open, radiant, and real self. Beauty standards are often presented as harmless trends or cultural preferences, but for many women, they are a constant source of psychological pressure. These standards, what society defines as attractive or acceptable, aren't just visual expectations. They are deeply embedded messages that shape how a woman sees herself, how she believes others see her, and how she determines her own value. Whether she realizes it or not, the world's definition of beauty becomes a mirror she checks herself against every single day. From an early age, girls are exposed to images that tell them what beauty looks like: clear skin, slim waist, long hair, flawless features, perfect proportions. These messages are everywhere, on TV, in movies, in advertisements, on social media. Over time, they create an invisible checklist that becomes internalized. A woman doesn't need to be told she's not enough outright. She feels it when she doesn't fit the mold. She feels it when her natural body, skin, or hair isn't reflected in what's celebrated. And most importantly, she begins to question her worth based on something she can't always control. This leads to a unique kind of psychological tension. Even the most confident, intelligent, accomplished woman can find herself doubting her appearance, not because she lacks self-love, but because the world around her has conditioned her to believe her value is tied to how she looks. Compliments often focus on beauty, not character. Success is often paired with attractiveness, not effort. And aging, something natural and inevitable, is treated like a flaw she must fight against. The pressure doesn't just affect how she sees herself, it affects her behavior. Many women feel the need to constantly present their best angle, hide their imperfections, or seek validation through likes, compliments, or approval. This can lead to obsessive self-monitoring, checking mirrors, editing photos, comparing herself to others. Over time, this kind of vigilance isn't just exhausting, it's damaging. It erodes self-esteem, creates anxiety, and leads to a sense of never being good enough. What makes it worse is that beauty standards are often unattainable. They're filtered, edited, airbrushed, or surgically enhanced, yet women are still expected to live up to them in real life. When they don't or can't, they blame themselves. They feel guilt for not fitting into clothes a model wears, shame for not having perfect skin, pressure to fix something that was never broken to begin with. Even in relationships, this conditioning shows up. A woman might question whether she's attractive enough to be loved. She might stay in a situation where she's treated poorly because part of her believes she won't find someone else who finds her beautiful. This isn't vanity, it's vulnerability shaped by years of being told her appearance determines her desirability. What society often misses is that beauty standards don't just affect how a woman looks in the mirror. They affect how she walks through the world. They influence her confidence, her choices, her relationships, and her mental health. And the cost of trying to live up to those standards can be heavy, even when she carries it with a smile. The female body is not just a physical form. It is a living, breathing reflection of emotion, instinct, memory, and resilience. From the way she processes pain in silence to how her hormones shape her thoughts and moods. From the emotional weight of a single touch to the subconscious search for safety, every part of her is constantly communicating, adapting, and surviving. Her body reveals what she feels before she says a word, and it holds on to both love and trauma long after the moment has passed. Yet, despite all this depth and complexity, women are often misunderstood, oversimplified, or reduced to surface-level standards, especially when it comes to beauty. But when you begin to truly see her, not just with your eyes, but with awareness, you start to understand that her strength is quiet, but unshakable. Her intuition is sharp, her emotions are intelligent, and her presence is powerful. She doesn't need to be fixed, judged, or molded to fit unrealistic ideals. What she needs is to be understood, respected, and accepted in her full truth. Because when a woman feels seen, safe, and valued, not for how she looks, but for who she is, she rises. And when she rises, everything around her does too.